rumors. Like when I said about food prices going down, there's hope. It could start. Maybe the growers, the factories and the grocery stores and the farmers and the truckers work together to lower our price of food. That could help lower your rent. Landlords see that. They say, you know what? I'm in a good mood. You know what? I'm going to lower my rent a little bit. You understand how that could work as a chain reaction in reverse to increase the worth of your currency, to help set the captives free, to end abject, uh, extreme, desperate poverty? You see, that could help end homelessness directly. And this is where we need to bind the wound on the collective body of humanity. Okay, on the body of Jesus, because he said he identified with the least of men, and who is the least of men? But that guy out there, you're going to say he's useless, used up meth head or whatever. He deserves what he got. He made his bed. Now he's got to sleep in it. Remember who you're talking about. You're talking about Jesus. You cannot speak of another human being in belittling terms without it coming back on you. You cannot do it. It's like saying you can hold your hand over a hot stove and get away with it. You can't, even if you've trained your mind, your heart and mind. Nope, power of the mind. I can do this now. Look at me. And your hand is cremated because the laws of science, the laws of physics, laws of reality kick in. Karmic laws, immutable universal laws of the universe. That's it. As you sow, so you reap. What goes around comes around. For every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. All that stuff kicks in, and then you get yours. But the media never highlights the communists when they're out there packing heat, openly packing heat in Texas. Got a lot of communists. I've never seen any communists like that in California with the masks and all that stuff. But the media doesn't want to say anything bad about these people, do they? They're covering their faces like the Al-Qaeda, right? Like ISIS. It's wrong. Mainstream media, you're obviously crooked. You're obviously got an agenda. You're obviously working for somebody. And somebody is not we the people, okay? So I don't like the fake stream mainstream media. Donald Trump's right. A lot of it is just fake. It's all propaganda, trying to manipulate us, you keep us going, to corral us, keep us going in the direction you want. Manipulate our thoughts, because you're the educators, right? So, you know what? Thank God people are catching on, because it's hard. I mean, when you guys are all reading off a script, looking all earnest and sincere and genuine, when people want to believe you and you look like you've got integrity and honor and you would never sell out, you would never do your job just for a paycheck, but yet, you do, and a lot of people do. This is the problem we have. This is what happens when people are living in fear, this pseudo-reverence I talk about, from the money masters and their cohorts. All their sycophantic minion politicians, they sicken me, God. So the mainstream media, if you were for real, man, you start pointing these things out. What's going this agenda? Because communism is a lost. It's never going to work in America. George Soros knows that. He knows it can never work. American people aren't going to go for it. It's antithetical to our Constitution, to our Bill of Rights, everything about America. Okay, so we got to work the other direction, man. I'd start by getting rid of that $50 billion a year going to... Just, all right, save $10 billion to build people houses, and that'll fix the problem. And then once everybody's housed, then you take away that $10 billion. So I'm saving the taxpayers hundreds of billions of dollars in the long run over all this stuff. Hundreds of trillions of dollars, okay? That won't go into rich dad's pockets, because once it goes through the economic fabric of society, the sluice, what I call it, ends up in rich dad's pocket, his ilk. It's not going in the pockets of those that need assistance with their housing costs. So fix the damn problem. I'm a fiscal conservative, okay? Be honest. It's not an intellectual discussion I'm trying to have with people. I'm not trying to inspire intellectual thought. I'm not trying to provoke intellectual thought so much as just to use your thought, to just be honest. Remember, all the economic issues get convoluted on purpose. They want your head spinning. They want you discombobulated. They want you confused. They want you ignorant. They want you stupid. They want you disempowered. But economic stuff's easy to understand. It's easy to define true economic progress and the difference between true capitalism, supply and demand, and phony, pseudo, crony capitalism. They're the opposite. It's easy to understand when the government gets involved in this thing. And the motivation, they make more taxes. It's a no-brainer. Duh. So just let's be honest and understand how so many people have incentive to keep the problems going because their job security revolves around the social problems in society. Social, it's all economic. All that crime. I mean, could you imagine the attorneys would be out of work, the judges and the on and on, the jailers and the clerks, on and on and on, if you just eliminated desperate poverty. So the crime started plummeting and drying up. And the dubious war, you couldn't get these things started because nobody would go off to these. They'd go off for a just cause for free. Okay, and the debt, nobody's going to need debt. We're not going to have this debt. You see? This is just all a bunch of bull, man. It's all just bull. And all the people employed in the social welfare industry, they're going to be out of work if you end poverty. You understand how screwed up we are? This is insanity. It's devilish insanity that's taken over the world. And we've just got to understand that. If we don't understand that, we're hopeless, okay? We've got to understand it. We've got to help other people understand it. That's the job of every servant of God, every friend of God, every friend of humanity. You've got to just put down your differences with people, try to heal the divide through understanding. I mean, if somebody's real, they're real. They might firmly believe in communism. You don't know that. You don't know that they're not just putting up a show, they don't even believe their own BS, their own rhetoric. They might. It's not your job. That's condemning them. If you believe that they believe it, and you know they're condemned to hell for their beliefs of taking from the haves to give to the have-nots and doing it by force and all the genocide that's been committed under the name of communism, right? Oh, yes, we're egalitarian. We're for the people, right? Because we believe the Robin Hood theory, take from the haves, give to the have-nots, redistribute wealth and all this crap. And millions upon millions of people all over the world have died under that kind of authoritarian, state-run, totalitarian, fascist communism. Okay, that's a fact. That's a historical fact. So it's not going to work. We've got to work with the capitalists. We've got to work with true capitalists. All of us, man. Just increase the worth of our currency. Lower our cost of living. That's lowering our cost to survive. That's lowering our taxes. Okay, this is what needs to happen. Increase the worth of your currency. This is what needs to happen. This is what's going to solve all of our problems, okay? All of our problems. Could you imagine that? And we'll please God. We'll find happiness. We'll find contentment. We'll find peace and joy and safety and security and freedom and prosperity. We'll find all those things if we can just do this thing. But we've got to stay focused. Go for the jugular. It's those top politicians that illegitimately legitimize the theft of the wealth of our nation in collusion with the money printers. That's the Federal Reservists, okay? These are the kingpins. These are the ones we've got to stay focused on. We've got to wrest control from these people. We, the people, need to gain control over the money printing, the issuance of currency. And we the people be the check and balance. We, the people, do the oversight. We, the people, hold everybody accountable for progress, for making real progress across the board, social, economically, politically speaking. That makes everybody happy, doesn't leave anybody out of the loop, okay? That's it. If there's a few demon-possessed people that just got to act up and be pissed off even though the world's handed to them on a silver platter, that's their problem. They might have to be bound and gagged like they did in the old days. Like, remember in the times of Jesus, they used to chain people hand and foot. And sometimes they broke the chains, the demon-possessed, they call them. So maybe we do have a few of those type that need to be confined. Whatever. Yeah, I don't understand the healthcare crisis. To me, we should probably just go back 100 years to when it worked. I already mentioned I don't like the idea of raising the debt ceiling, not an iota. It just brings more consternation to me. Okay, I guess that's about all the current event type stuff I wanted to cover. I'm going to go on to a few of the thoughts from this past week. I ask, how good is God? Infinitely better than we can ever imagine. That's what I would say. And he invites us to imagine. We should imagine. We spend a lot of time. That's honoring God. Just saying, you know what, God, I have some understanding now. I know about the original sin and the fall of man and the curse that befell us. Knowledge of good and evil. I know. It got in our DNA. And it took thousands of years for you to work this thing out. to be gentle with us, to give us lots of time, be very patient and restrained with us, not to just destroy us, but to give us hope, and then to give us more hope in Jesus Christ, that he's really going to redeem the earth, that you love us that much. But this is it. There's not going to be any more sacrifice made. That's it. That's why the great and the terrible day of the Lord is all that awaits us, and the separation of the wicked from the righteous. That's all we have to wait for. Many are those whom will foolishly ride the bandwagon of death, destruction, and misery until the wheels fall off. I should have said that, unfortunately, many are those whom will do that. Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's it. Because they love money. They just love that feeling of being well heeled. And who doesn't understand it? It's not like God is stupid and he doesn't understand it. We still need to move away from that. We've still got to care about other people. You can't just care about yourself. You can't. You will never find true happiness and just caring about your own economic welfare. You can't do it. You're interconnected with every other human being. Okay, otherwise you're ignoring the teachings of Jesus. You're literally ignoring Jesus himself. And that's never going to bring you happiness in the long run. Who hasn't said never again, only to do it, whatever it is, again and again and again? You know, isn't that all of us basically? And that's in regard to unwanted behavior, which again, it all starts in our heart and our mind. And then out of the overflow of that, we speak words that might be the behavior, that might be the it, or we do things that might be the it, that later we say, God, never again, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to race that guy off the line anymore. Okay, I'm not going to do it. It's not worth the heartache. It's not worth it. Okay, I'm not going to do whatever thing it is that bugs you, and you say, what is that behavior in me? That's not like me. Okay, it's unbecoming behavior. That's unbecoming speech. Whatever it is that you do that's bugging you, and then you say, never again. Once it sets in, you say, that's not me. Why would I do something that's not me? And then you feel that vapid void feeling, that empty feeling of being weak and falling, right? And separating yourself from who you truly want to be. So it's a bad feeling, yet we do it. And this is so often what drives people, I think, to psychiatrists, to counselors, therapists, and the like, is because they think that this is unique to them. But what people need to understand is it's not, that God understands. Even King Solomon talked about this. He said, there's nothing new under the sun. So it pertains to that same kind of mindset, where we think we're terminally unique, but we don't realize everybody's just like us. Everybody has the same urges and inklings and propensities to do things that are not really what they want to do. And then they say never again. This is the whole idea behind making a New Year's resolution, right? People say, oh, last year's gone. All that unwanted behavior, that speech, whatever it was, those things I did, it's gone, and I want to bury them. The same thing behind the idea of getting baptized, being born again. Jesus said, you all must be born again. Well, you know, a lot of people will say that's baptism, but a lot of other people will say, well, that's a willingness. Would you allow yourself to be baptized by the Holy Spirit? Because that's what Jesus said. When I leave, I'm not leaving you alone, I'm leaving you with the Holy Spirit. So you can be baptized anytime you want with the Holy Spirit simply by inviting it in. That's a baptism. By you not saying no to it. Just welcome the Holy Spirit of truth in, and that's like a cleansing that comes over you, just like being dipped in water, holy water, right? Your willingness to be cleansed by the truth, the Spirit of truth, which the Holy Spirit is called. That is a baptism. And then there's another kind of baptism that some people think is valid, is baptism by death, okay, by fire, that, you know, we've got to walk through that door that so many others have already walked through. Okay, and that deserves a lot of respect. That is, because now all you have to face is believing what's in the Bible, and that you're going to get this resurrected body, an imperishable body someday, and live forever in paradise. These promises. So it's a good idea to have some faith in God. It's like buying insurance for free. That's it. I mean, God offers free insurance. Is that great or what? Like he says, I'm a good God, I'm truthful, and just have a little bit of faith in me. And this is my promise for being a friend of mine. I'm going to give you these good things for free. That's the way it works. Because he's got everything. Why wouldn't he give it to free? Well, he doesn't need money. What the hell does God need money for? He thinks things into existence. He wants us to be like that. He wants the best for us. So, I mean, I say latch on, seize on to those promises, and just have a little faith to know that death is not death. That, like it's written in the scriptures, God, all are alive. We're all alive. You can't really die. There is no death. The Son of Man, which is us, all of us, daughters of men, we're all free. The death is alive from the pit of hell, basically, and Jesus proved that. When he raised dead people, right and left, he did it. And then the Father raised Jesus Christ himself. Okay, this is an awesome thing. This is what we have to remind each other, that God is a good God, and that this world is just like a passing phase, that it's a very temporal existence, and that we will be born again, all of us, in the biggest way we can think of is literally dying, losing our body, and be born